Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're going to be checking out a game in the Sovetsky Soyuz Tier 8 Soviet battleship. First time we've featured the ship in a video on this channel so far. Still upgrading it. We have the hull in this game, and then we screenshotted this after this game, so I just put the engine mod on there. I like to put hull basically on all ships when we're upgrading tech tree ships. Hull, you get more steering and HP, both of them extremely valuable. Then for battleships, I usually put the engine and then range boost last. The range boost, when you don't have it, 10%, it's a disadvantage for sure. If you're going against a bunch of battleships and they all have better range than you, they can hit you. You potentially can't even fire back. But in general, getting more mobility, more survivability is going to be better in general. And a side note here, with the Russian battleships, accuracy at range, the accuracy model is programmed a little bit different on these Russian lines, where they become very accurate within usually about 12 kilometers. Beyond that, they get very wild and very inaccurate, so it's not even necessarily that advantageous to boost these, but you know, it'll be nice once we get this thing upgraded. We'll of course cover all these battleships once they're fully upgraded, but we like to feature some games as we're grinding. And the first half of this game, we'll check out the action. It's a pretty well played game. And then second half, we want to cover a topic that's proposed to me quite a bit. Now, over my last 3.5 years when I've been covering this game, we've tackled the subject a lot here and there. A lot, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there. But we haven't really done a deep dive on how these battleships deal with these destroyers point blank range. So we'll try and give you some tips for that. To start with, though, we got the Kleber moving into sea. Yamato, okay, stacked on me. This is offensively horrendous. There's no crossfire when you're literally on top of each other. He might even block my shots here, but he also tanked the shot for us, or yeah, I think he just did a moment ago. So Shima, unfortunately, nukes the Kleber. Now, that's clue number one. When we're dealing with destroyers, we want to be keeping an eye out for torpedoes in the water. Now, we had the teammate blow up there, so it was patently obvious if we're paying attention that there's a destroyer over there. But let's just say we're zoomed down range the whole time, and you can always tell people on your team that are doing this. Let's say I zoom in on the main, I don't zoom out, I don't check the map in between the shots. Hyper focused. In fact, I think it was 2 games before I played this one. I had a teammate who was like 5 kilometers from the destroyer. I could tell they were just zoomed in down range. The torpedoes were going right by him. Luckily, he missed. But it took far too long for him to realize what was going on. Let's just put it that way. So, situational awareness of your surroundings is going to be huge with dealing with these destroyers. So we saw where the torpedoes came from. They came from the direction of the center of the cap, going to the left side of the screen. So that's his last known position, was somewhere right about where we're aiming. And we always want to be keeping an eye on, are we spotted as well? We'll talk about that more as we get into the more destroyer-specific thing. But these are clues that we're going to be using as battleship. We can't throw up our hands and say, oh, we can't see the destroyers. This is unfair. You got tools. Main, in the meanwhile, he's moving in. He's fairly broadside. Looks completely broadside on the screen. I like to advocate checking the map in between shots, especially with battleships when you got time to do it. Check the angling. He's definitely wreckable at that angle, but there's a little bit of angling on the ship, so always healthy to keep that in mind. So at this point in time, we're saying to ourselves, okay, the Shima, I don't, pro players would count down the torps. They know the exact reload for all of them. They'd say, okay, we got 90 seconds since the last launch. I go by kind of feel. I'm like, okay, it feels like Shima torps are coming. Now, I was expecting them to come from the left-hand side of the ship. Luckily, we're angled at the torps, which is the key to survival. We always want the torpedoes coming either directly at the nose or the rear of the ship, because they're spread out. By definition, they can't hit you with as many torpedoes. That's going to help you, and that's potentially you can dodge them. All right, so we're going to see some torpedo dodges here. We dodged the majority of those, and you know, that was more luck. Trust me, I was up until we saw those torps, I thought the ship was to my left, and then once we saw where the torpedoes came, we adjusted our thinking. Okay, now he's somewhere south of us, most likely. So always paying attention to that and keeping kind of a running idea. Okay, we don't know where he is. He hasn't been spotted yet, but I kind of know where he is, okay? So we're moving back, we're moving forward, and we're always going to be changing speeds here. You always want to be doing this as a battleship. Don't park, or don't go forward for 30 seconds or a minute and then backwards for 30 seconds or a minute. Very predictable, okay? And especially these destroyers who specialize in torping battleships, eventually they will get good at it. And if you're doing very predictable movements, ooh, wicked shot there. very easy to torp. So we always want to be kind of playing with the throttle, right? Let's kick it up into gear, jerk that knob up and down, just push it back and forth, see what you can do, and just throw the guy off. And then once we verify later that we're under direct torpedo attack, then you'll see how aggressive we get with our movements. But at this point in time, I'm thinking, okay, if he's smart, he's probably attacking B. If he's not, okay, he's probably might be trying to torp us. So we'll try and juke a little bit, but I'm not as concerned. There's a Fletcher. We're going to go ahead and try and take some shots on him. I do want the battleship down, though. Destroyers are always more valuable than battleships. But the fact that he's low and the fact that battleships potentially can have infinite health if they get close to their team, you want to get them off the board when they're low. So I thought that was the kill shot there. Whoop. Looks like the shots went all around him. All right, we'll get the back gun on there. Luckily, the team did take off the Fletchers. So that was a high-value target that the team did a very good job dealing with. And so he's gone. Who's going to capture C? Well, I'm going to capture C, of course. Shimakaze last spotted somewhere south of us. So I'm thinking, okay, he's probably gone at this point in time. We are spotted, but I'm still considering southward Shimakaze, okay? And this is effective Japanese destroyer play, by the way. He's very sneaky, but he's also moving around, and he's going to surprise me here. Okay, I'm going to give you a little foreshadowing or whatever. The torps are actually going to come from basically towards us, but what I'm doing here, I'm thinking he's to the south. I'm thinking there might be torps coming from my rear, or, you know, maybe to the right-hand side of the screen, further off, directly south. So I'm thinking, all right, let's do a hard turn. By the way, well, it'll take about 40 seconds to do this turn. We'll line up through this gap. Shima's sailing off into the wind somewhere, probably south. And then by the time this cap actually flips, we're going to be pointing right at B. We'll go support down there. It's going to be a brilliant move. This, I was like, no, what the heck is this? Luckily, we were turning hard, and we did throw off. He was aiming on the indicator. Looks like he was going for a hard kill shot. Those were pretty stacked. He has two sets of torps there. A third one, another set of 5, either staggered prior to this, if he got shot, which he didn't because he hasn't been spotted, or he deliberately kind of held on to one, thinking, okay, if those miss, I'm going to follow up another shot. So now we know where he is. He's kind of over here, right? That's where the torps came. So we're going to turn in towards them, thinking to ourselves, where's this other salvo? We got to be doing some hard turns here, and we will be changing speed, changing direction for the next, as long as this game lasts. Okay, this might be boring to some of you guys, but I think it's a pretty good demonstration of exactly what we're going to be doing and how hard it is to hit these things. Because once, like if I'm in a destroyer and I'm trying to torp this guy, I'm like, okay, if I aim on the indicator, that's a guaranteed miss. Now we have to start to predict, is he going to be left? Is he going to juke left and then cut right immediately? What's the play? That's very, very, very challenging to hit, even with the 15-shot Shimakaze with super nukes on it. So this is practice doing this, okay? If you're constantly screaming at the sky saying, these destroyers, that's so unfair, I can't see them. I can see what I need to see, right? I'm being spotted here. I know he's not behind an island, and I know he's within that orange ring on the map, okay? So that's a fair amount of ground to cover. But I know he's not, for instance, posted up on an ambush if I come around this island. So I'm turning hard, turning hard, turning hard. We're going full 360 circles here very slowly, less than 20 knots. But this is very, very difficult to do. And now we know he was either to the west or I'm thinking maybe he's going south. So we're actually going to angle directly to the south. Had the plane up. The plane is another great tool. If you got these spotter planes, you'll note those torps were spotted much earlier, right as the fighter plane went over those. Turning hard, slam on the brakes here, and you slamming on the brakes as soon as the torps pop up on your screen, usually a good play, right? And that'll allow you to turn faster if you temporarily hit the brakes all the way and then fire up the gas again. Much sharper turn, all right? So we got to be doing these extreme maneuvers. You might be saying to yourself, well, what the hell are you doing over here? There's just no scoring going on. And this isn't a play that's going to be reflected on the scoreboard. I think we get about 4th on the score, but we're tying up the last ship that can reasonably capture bases, right? His play, he needs to kill me. I mean, this game's pretty well lost for him at this point in time, barring disaster. But step 1, he needs to kill me and take C, and then pressure B, right? That's kind of a roadmap to if you want to have a chance to win this game. So we're tying up the Shima, okay? If we die here, that's a 100-point swing. They'll be up, a little bit more on the score. But think about how long this is taking here. He's not getting this base. This base needed to be captured 5 minutes ago, and he needed to be already attacking B. So, this might just look we're goofing off or kind of wasting everyone's time here. But this is in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is the play that I need to be making. I can sail all the way over. There's going to take me the rest of the match just to get to those guys. Or we can just keep tying up these shots and trying to dodge them. Slam on the brakes here. Once again, we do get clipped in the nose. All right, and that hurts. 16,000. These torps are no joke, but it wasn't a 4-shot. It wasn't a 3-shot torp strike that would have killed us, so we're still alive. And you saw the basic idea there is turn in towards the torps, or if you can swing it, you can also turn away. But keep in mind, if you're thinking to myself, okay, I want to turn away from these torps, fine, but be sure you can complete that turn relatively rapidly, because if they do predict that turn and they catch you in the side, you're toast. So that's a good look at how to deal with those destroyers close range for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.